I had no idea if that helps.
So what? You're not going to even give me the one that I should know?
No.
Ricky Henderson.
Oh, come on.
Well,
I don't think he would have even. I don't think he would have got the first one.
I think
So
we got
80
him off
stolen
balance
bases
there.
in a season and 20 home runs in a season.
Correct.
Yes. And now I'll give you the same hint I gave Nick, which is the other one is a player who is from the same era, like mid 80s to very early 90s. But he peaked kind of like, I'm guessing like 89. But 87, great year. 88, great year.
I bet you could give him the team and he wouldn't get it because you gave me the team and
Okay.
I couldn't get it.
All right, do that then.
He wore a red uniform.
Did you give Nick the team or the color of the jersey?
No.
I gave him the.
He gave me
It's the Reds. It's the Reds.
Put a little buffer circle on the screen.
Buffering. Yeah, that's
Right
a
on
great
his dome.
idea. That's a very good idea.
Essential.
I don't know, Gabe. For some reason, the name Joe is coming to mind, and like it's the number 4 for some reason for the Reds. But
So are you trying to like get this through like psychic means or
no,
something?
you can tell me who it
getting
is,
the
but I'm
name
curious
Joe.
how close I was with
Joe.
like how close I was. Yeah. Who is it?
It's Eric Davis.
Eric Davis. What number did he wear?
30, I believe.
30.
Which I'm going to be kind of impressed if I know that. It might be 23. Oh, darn it. I don't really know for sure. Oh, this show's going to be hot today. If you can't
It'll be a good
notice
show.
that already.
Yeah.
I might have to adjust the camera there. The third. Well, that one's good, but.
Hey, Gabe, what number did I say I was seeing? 4? He wore 44.
44. I knew it.
Look at Mike. Look at Mike trying to piece.
Before.
Look at Mike
I've
trying
seen
to
it once
piece.
before. It's way
Trying to
back
get a
in
little
there.
Pride back.
I had a 1 in 10 shot of getting the number right, though. That's just saying.
And gentlemen, the show belongs to the streets.
The streets.
But
Dylan shows up, and all of a sudden we belong to the streets, Mike.
I
Apparently.
guess so. Wow.
Has everybody done their sharing?
Oh, yeah. No, do your sharing first. Then give it back to the streets.
So I told people to do it, and then did not do it myself. So, not really doing a great job at leading by example there.
You're clearly a more of a do as you say, not as you do kind of
Yeah.
leader.
I believe in that whole blind leading the blind movement.
I don't believe in blindness. I think they're all faking. Could be wrong.
So I shared today, and my only caption was, Gabe doesn't believe in blindness.
That was.
You're welcome, Gabe.
Well, it's.
I hope you tagged him.
There's a
Like Gabe
conspiracy.
Noah doesn't believe in blindness.
I didn't, but I will now.
Yeah. Dylan, did you share the show, bud?
I'm doing it right now.
Jeez, man.
God. If we had better Wi-Fi.
Can we not? Can we not? That was a whole thing today. There was almost a mental meltdown before the show even got kicked off this morning.
There you go, Gabe. You're taking that one.
All right.
So glad. So glad.
Unfortunately for you, I'm humiliation proof.
Ooh,
Oh, I'm not trying to humiliate you.
we could test those boundaries. We could get them canceled.
I'm
All
just
this,
really trying to
the
get more
blind
eyes.
community is
Believe me,
going to
I've
come
tried.
after. You've tried.
I've tried.
Right
People
now.
like me too much.
Yeah. It's an easy thing to. I mean, I like you too. Can you like somebody too much?
People just don't want to see me fail.
I wish I had that problem.
Everyone's pulling for me.
Well, I'm pulling for you. Are you ready in the back there, Gabe?
Absolutely.
Dylan, are you ready? Mike, how about you?
Ready.
I'm ready.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another episode of Glass Half Sports. I am 1/3 or a quarter of your hosts for the day, Nick Huffman, joined by Mike Mensing, my faithful co-host, and with the addition of Dylan Gelzo back as the hockey playoffs approach, and as always, our producer in the back. Gabe, how's everybody doing this morning?
Doing well, man.
Yeah.
All the way live.
Very good, very good. We got a big show for you guys today. Mike, can you run everybody through where they can find us and what we got going on for them?
Yeah, as always, guys, we do have a big show for you today, so make sure to check us out on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, YouTube, and Patreon. We supposedly have a Twitch up and going now.
We do.
Look at that. And then you can find us on local cable on MCN6 here in the Twin Cities area. Otherwise, you can access that through your Roku app through MCN6. Like I said, big show today. So the quick rundown is we're going to do Minnesota Sports Roundup. Bronny is a McDonald's All-American, MLB open season, NFL offseason, UFC news, and then MLB 30 under 30. And I'm out of breath after the show rundown. I think that's the longest show rundown we have ever had.
Quite potentially.
Big show.
Big show. So we're going to have to do it with some energy and some pace, which is why we got the extra horsepower with us today. Dylan, thanks for coming back, bud. But we can jump right into it with a little bit of Vikings vision. Mike, anything on the news front outside of maybe the subtle hint that the Vikings pretty much told Kirk Cousins to go fuck himself after his team approached the Vikings looking for a 3-year contract extension at a discount? Your thoughts on this? Were you surprised at all?
I'm surprised it took Kirk Cousins this long, but it also makes sense, right?
Yeah.
He finally got a good situation with a good head coach in a system that he enjoys, that's built around his strengths. He goes, yeah, I really like the complexion of this team moving forward. Let me go ahead and take a pay cut to help this team.
Yeah.
But he's also 34 and on the last year of his contract.
Correct.
So it's just a little bit too late in Kirk's case, and I don't blame the Vikings either. Kwesi and KOC have hinted at and are pretty much pursuing the rookie contract quarterback to build a team around him as their mold. They've been going out and signing run-blocking tight ends and trying to beef up the defense.
Yeah.
They are building a playoff football team here that's going to be a little bit more balanced than what we saw last year, and Kirk Cousins is not in that long-term plan.
I would agree with everything that you have to say. Dylan, your thoughts on hearing that a little bit more casual Vikings fan. What do you think about moving on from Kirk and hearing that the team's kind of pushed the ball in that direction?
I think my only question would be who's next? Who's on the list? Who's the prospects we're looking at?
Trusting Kwesi would be my response.
Right. I think the biggest thing that I notice here with the Minnesota Vikings is the word more. They wanted more complexity on defense, so they went out and got Brian Flores. They wanted more pressure, so they leaned into a guy like that. They wanted players that were more Kwesi style, second chance guys, buy low guys. We got some of those. Byron Murphy, Marcus Davenport. At the quarterback position and on offense last year, I think part of the reason why we didn't get to see the offensive guru-ness of what Kevin O'Connell is really capable of is because maybe the right players weren't in place.
Agreed.
And now there were other holes to fix last year, and they're addressing those. But when it comes to the quarterback position, you were going to get the best version of Kirk Cousins last year. Yep. They were the best weapons he was going to have throughout the remainder of his tenure. It was going to be on the most salary cap friendly team with the best equipped defense. And they looked at his ceiling and said, everything else needs to give more. Kirk Cousins can't, and so we're not going to extend him, which is very, to me, relevant to the conversation that I was having back when we signed Kirk after our NFC Championship run, which was that's the standard. That's the glass ceiling. If you're not consistently pressed up against that, trying to break through, you're not doing your job.
True.
And the Vikings have decided that's the route they're going to take. It's no longer Kirk in the future. But you have now effectively started the clock on, are we trading for somebody? Are we drafting somebody? Are we bridging on somebody? And that is the major question as the Vikings continue to get steam picked up on the Lamar Jackson train. They have moved into second in betting odds at a lot of booking sites now for Lamar Jackson, ahead of, or just behind the New England Patriots, believe it or not. And the Ravens have fallen to third to retain after Lamar comes out and says, hey, want everybody to know the truth is, and he should have done this a long time ago.
Would that be smart for us, though?
This is what we're going to get into here in a second. He pretty much comes out and says ahead of the league meetings when Harbaugh goes to speak, hey, everybody needs to know the truth. I requested a trade on March 2nd. They tagged me a week after that. I'm not looking for guaranteed money. I want to go somewhere where I can win a Super Bowl. Right. Obviously a move he should have done months and months and months and months ago. But with that news, Mike, in your opinion, change the approach to maybe making a Lamar Jackson deal?
Well, let's just take a breath here and look at some Lamar statistics to look at this objectively.
Sure.
Lamar came into the league in 2018, got his first NFL start in Week 12 after Flacco was hurt 2 weeks prior.
Yep.
The next season, MVP season in 2019. So what I did was I took all quarterback statistics from and including the season of 2019, his MVP season.
Sure.
So to almost help him statistically against these other quarterbacks, I gave him his MVP season basically as his rookie season. Since then, 20th in passing yards. Names like Carson Wentz, Daniel Jones, and Jimmy Garoppolo are ahead of him. 10th in passing touchdowns, less than Derek Carr, only 6 more than Ryan Tannehill. First in total yards of rushing, but 580 attempts. 5th in rushing touchdowns behind Ryan Tannehill. Rejected a 6-year deal with $133 million guaranteed.
3-year deal, but yeah.
Would only be behind Deshaun Watson as far as money guaranteed towards quarterback contracts. In the last 2 years, he has only played 12 games in each year, and he is also coming off of a PCL injury in his knee.
Mm-hmm.
He is not a good passer in this league to demand that kind of money. In fact, he's a median passer in this league. And to me, the biggest gripe that Viking fans have had about Kirk Cousins, along with his mediocre to above average play, is his contract. And for us, as Vikings fans, to whine about a contract going to a quarterback and not being able to build around that quarterback position, to turn around and do the exact same thing to an injury-riddled quarterback who's going to be taking that money, sitting on the bench in Week 15, while the level of play on the field is poorer because of what we're paying him, does not make any sense to me at all.
So here is why, and this is to me, what Mike laid out is the framework for the average Minnesota sports fan that doesn't want to see Lamar Jackson in Minnesota.
True.
Anybody who lands in that camp has that to say. I've seen it on social media everywhere. The argument remains the same, right? Concerns about injury, not worth the money. Maybe has a little bit of an attitude issue because he sat out the playoff game. Isn't a great passer. Whatever these things may be. Okay. I look at it from the devil's advocate side.
Of course.
You have to, right? You have to see all sides. And then I went, okay, where am I really going to land on this? Because I do truly believe that a younger quarterback is the right answer. But if you're going to make a swing.
But what about team cohesion?
I totally get it. Lamar Jackson has been one of the best locker room guys in the league in Baltimore over the last 5 years as well. So I wouldn't worry about that. But here's what I'm going to say. Okay, he's the 20th ranked passer in the league in yardage. Probably because the number of attempts that guy has offered to throw the ball are vastly fewer than Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Kirk Cousins, Matt
Daniel
Stafford,
Jones?
Dak Prescott.
Jimmy Garoppolo, who's also been injury-riddled,
Correct.
threw more passing yards than him? Okay, that's fine. Do you want me to look up the exact passing attempts?
Okay, now listen. All of those guys are also in offenses with a multitude of perimeter weapons.
Yeah,
Jimmy Garoppolo has George Kittle, and Debo Samuel, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, even guys
I didn't
like
say
Tua.
Patrick Mahomes' name once. I said Carson Wentz.
Even who had Terry McLaurin. Regardless of what you have to say about wide receiver talent, would be by far the most talented receiver that Lamar Jackson has ever had, would be Terry McLaurin. Now, if you put him in an offense with a number one weapon,
True,
where you're giving him more pass attempts, because the one thing that nobody else wants to talk about, by the way, is through the first 2 years of Lamar Jackson's career, he was the second most accurate quarterback in NFL history.
What happened in the last 2 years of his career?
They traded away his top receiving weapon, and he's been hurt due to an increase in rushing attempts.
So what I'm hearing, devil's advocate here, is if you put him with our weapons on offense, he's going to be better.
I think he'll also be healthier. He will also be healthy.
Better.
He will also be healthier because he will be playing indoors on a fast track in a system that isn't designed for him to run the ball downhill at the clip that the Ravens have forced him into. Now, the counter argument is immediately going to be they'd open it up if he was a better passer. Okay, well, He had earned that with the second most highest completion percentage through the first 2 years of his career. And what did they do? They steered away from it instead of into it. That's Baltimore's problem and where the crux of this contract issue had come from in the first place. He wants to be a quarterback. He wants to develop those skills. Right. Those take reps he's not currently getting. So I'm not saying he's worth 230, but if Lamar were to come to the table and say, all right, I'll tell you what, 7 years, over 7 years, $200 million guaranteed with options to go to 250. I would take it. It's the rest of his prime, and it's cap friendly. And you're getting a guy that has the second highest winning percentage outside of any quarterback besides Patrick Mahomes since Lamar was drafted.
And how many playoff wins?
1.
Okay, thanks.
Better than what Kirk has.
Kirk has 1 as well, Nick. It's not better. It's the same. It's the same.
In a vastly longer career.
Do you think
in
his
vastly
skill set
better situations?
One of us stated
gone,
facts.
Mike?
One of us stated, well, I'm just going to play devil's advocate here and give my opinion. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
There's no statistical basis to anything that you said today. None.
No, none. So the second highest winning percentage is not a statistic. The second highest completion percentage is not a statistic.
Let's look it up, Nick. Let's look it up. What's your source? I'm curious what your source is. So we're curious of his second highest winning
You would
percentage.
have to literally go back to
So
a
since
Nick.
2019, highest winning percentage by a quarterback, right?
Correct.
Okay, let's look it up.
Hold on. So let me ask you this, Mike, because I feel like you guys are making 2 separate arguments.
Sam Howell, Kurt Benkert, and KJ Costello are the top 3.
So isn't, at least what I'm hearing is that, there's one side that you say for the potential, right? That you still believe that he's an elite talent,
Yes.
right?
4th. Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes.
So Mike, do you think that he just does not have those skills? Like they're gone?
I think he's never been an elite passer.
You cannot win an MVP without being an elite passer. You can't. You
Nick,
can't.
His passing Okay, do you want to just yell or do you want to actually learn something today? Because you're wrong. And I'm trying to tell you in the nicest way I can. No other pocket passer would ever win an MVP with 3,000 yards and 36 touchdowns. I texted you this. 36 touchdowns wouldn't have led the league in any other season since 2010. It was his rushing statistics added to a mediocre, maybe above average passing season that helped him win MVP. He's not going to be able to run forever. He's coming off a PCL injury in his knee that does not help with explosiveness. That's all he's about is explosive play as a quarterback. He's only played in 24 games over the last 2 seasons. He's injury prone. And once you take his legs away, what is he?
He's the 8 touchdown guy a game that you were getting at Louisville because they weren't forcing him downfield.
Right. So, guys, I'm curious who you think is right. Me, who stated facts the entire time, or Nick, who thinks he's going to replicate an 8 touchdown performance from college.
8 a game?
Yeah. Whatever.
Was 8, 7, 6 was common.
In college, dude, in a wide open
I will
offense
say-
with 5 receivers.
In a
because the
wide
quarterback
open offense.
can run.
I was gonna say
he's not
he
going to be able to
can
run
run.
forever, especially in the NFL. Because guess what? Linebackers in the NFL can damn near catch quarterbacks like that.
Okay.
So
My final nail in the coffin to this would be
nail in the coffin.
there's
That's
not
the first.
Okay, whatever. What did Michael Vick turn into when he was given Andy Reid? A prolific passer that was injury prone, had won 1 playoff game because they got a bye and then it got him into the NFC Championship, who everybody thought wasn't going to be worth it. He had taken time away from the game even. He came back.
Can you really compare Lamar
They
to
are
Mike Vick,
they are ridiculously similar.
though? Okay. Gabe, what are your thoughts on that?
So I'm just curious,
I'm
which
just listening,
season you're talking about as prolific? So 3,300 yards and 18 touchdowns, or 2,300 yards and 12 touchdowns? Which
Mike Vick?
one of those was prolific?
For Mike Vick?
Yeah, in Philly, which one of them was prolific? 2,300 yards and 12 touchdowns, or 3,300 yards?
Well,
and
you're
18?
not going to just look at statistics and tell me you didn't watch
You
Lightning.
can't exclaim
They put
that
up
something is prolific when it's average.
Okay, Mike. Mike will take the approach today of nothing but numbers, and you have to put every single one of those into a vacuum, and that's his argument for why Joe Mauer should belong in the Hall of Fame, which has nothing to do with the impact that is actually developed or impressed on the game by the players. We're not going to sit here and act like we didn't watch Mike Vick and Deshaun Jackson put up
You're
video
literally in
game
your
numbers
feelings. You are
in
literally
Philadelphia.
in your feelings right now.
Because we can go back and watch the highlights. There's a reason why Deshaun Jackson has the most
We can go back
plus
and watch
60-yard
Kirk
touchdowns.
Cousins highlights too. He scored on read options, man. Like,
Jesus
I don't
Christ.
know.
All
What's
right.
your point? We can
All
watch
right.
highlights on anybody.
So moving forward on this,
Yeah, no, I like I said, I believe that the younger quarterback is the way to go. I 100% do.
well, I would agree with that, but
There's
maybe
certain
Lamar, maybe not Lamar.
yeah. I like I said, it's an open discussion for me. Let's talk or move on over to the draft. We've been taking a look at some of the mocks as far as players that could be coming off the board, and TCU wide receiver Quentin Johnson is up there as well.
Yep, Quentin Johnston, 6'4", 215 pounds, mid first round pick talent. He was Max Duggan's favorite target. Max Duggan was in the Heisman finalists out of TCU. 17.8 yards per catch is going to be the most important number that jumps out from his statistical year here. He had a lot of receptions as well, was involved in the offense. The only thing to me that would be concerning with his 6'4" frame is he's not much of a red zone threat. 6 touchdowns. A little concerning over a 14-game season being 6'4", but would be interesting to see Quentin Johnston here in Minnesota with that big frame.
Yeah, I was gonna say it just doesn't seem like a fit for the offense unless you're planning to move JJ to a spot where you're asking him to operate more from the slot to give him space, maybe to look at matchups. A big physical guy like this, I would assume, obviously doesn't. I haven't seen a ton of film on him. What is his separation? Is he able to separate well over the middle of the field?
Yeah, he would be an
you
outside
say?
receiver along with JJ. JJ would be on one side. This guy would be on the other. The Vikings offense is dependent on deep digs, deep crossers, and then posts or something along those lines over the top. So you'd have this guy running the deep drags, deep crossers, his big frame over the middle, and you'd have JJ with his explosiveness going over the top. Would work, but I don't know if it's necessarily worth that first round pick, is my opinion. The
Yeah.
value isn't there.
Same here. The unfortunate truth is, the more I realize that we're really leaning into away from drafting another corner, as far as everything that I'm seeing on reports, it's looking like interior offensive line, maybe an edge rusher or a wide receiver. And a lot of the guys that are of appropriate value are probably just outside of our reach. And we're probably looking at a Rick Spielman style trade back in the first round to get a second and another third and work backwards in the draft again this year, if I'm being totally honest with you, is the painful truth as I look at how the draft seems to be unfolding.
Correct. Did you have a player you were going to break down today? Or?
This was the only one that came up
just Quentin Johnson,
recently for the
Sounds good.
for that. And then last but not least, the way too early gambling addict win totals came out for the NFL. Projected win totals came out for the NFL. 8.5 games for the Vikings. Gabe, you want to put that other graphic up real quick? I wanted to ask Mike based on who our projected opponents are at home. So let's try to get to 8.5 here. Let's look at our home games first. Bears, Lions, Packers, Chiefs, Chargers, Saints, Niners, Bucks. How many wins are we getting at home next year, Mike? The way the rosters are currently constructed.
Say 4 or 5.
Okay, let's go to the road. Bears, Lions, Packers, Falcons, Panthers, Bengals, Broncos, Raiders, Eagles.
4 or 5.
10-win team,
9 or 10 win team.
9 or 10-win team. So you're taking the over early, at this point?
Yeah, over 8.5. Yeah.
Yeah, I would go over 8.5 as well. I think the media is being a little harsh on the Vikings. I do believe the roster is actually improving.
Why do we go so far backwards from 13?
We were not projected a 13-win team last year.
Well, sure, but we won 13 games.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying for the media to go that far back. I don't know.
You're losing a lot of leadership. You are. If you're looking at it from an outsider's perspective, not everybody is as close to the teams as the people who live in the state, right? These are Vegas bettors. These are national betting odds. You're looking at a team that has lost a combined 300 starts over the last 8 years or something like that, with Thielen, Kendricks.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You said this team is getting better.
Yes.
Where?
It's getting younger, and they're fixing the salary cap, and that's all that matters.
So not actually more talented.
I believe by the time the roster's done being constructed, we will be a better team moving forward. We're not going to be bad this year. I'm not saying we're going to 6 wins. I think 10 is still doable, which gets you a playoff spot.
Can you point to one spot on the roster where you feel like we're better?
just positioned better, right?
Yeah, I think we're
100%.
positioned
Where?
better for the future, in every spot, dude.
Okay.
Well, you need money to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
forward.
No,
and
I'm
build.
just curious. I'm just curious what he was thinking. Cool. Well, yeah.
Well, what is your thought? So, like, I guess is the team acknowledging that this is a rebuild?
Yeah.
They are, huh? What
Well,
a fucking depressing
it's
team
pretty
to
much
follow.
obvious, right? So that's why like the wording to me was just odd because we're clearly not better. Are we going to be better because we're taking the step back willingly? Yeah, I would agree with that.
Once again, I think there's so many different things that impact situations like this, and I think if you're the Vikings, you look at the fact that if we're going to have to do it, this is the year. Green Bay's in transition, Chicago isn't ready, Detroit isn't ready. You can rebuild this year while everybody else dips, but you don't have to dig nearly as far to get out of the holes as some of these other teams are trying to climb out of. So, if you would have waited to do this in 2025 or 2024, then you're in real trouble because in 2025 and 2026, the Packers' transition will be done. Detroit will have found their quarterback. Chicago's draft picks will be matured. Like
Detroit has their quarterback. Dan Campbell was asked about Lamar Jackson and said, "I have a quarterback."
I get it. Okay, continue to dig on the Lamar Jackson thing all you want.
That's a fact. That's what
Do we
happened.
want to revisit trading Jefferson yet?
No, it's not even worth the discussion.
Yeah, it is.
To me.
What's up, Trent? Thank you, man. Quentin Johnston isn't a very good route runner. Trent has experience with DBs. I believe he's a coach at Blaine, actually. So I would
Very nice.
trust
Yeah,
that.
thanks.
Trust that judgment.
Thanks for stopping in. Always appreciate it. But yeah, no, I think if you look at the situation, they're better in a spot. They're better situationally moving forward into the future, and positionally they're not worse than they were before. I don't think our linebacking core is worse than it was with Eric Kendricks on it. I don't think our DB room is worse with Murphy in and Peterson out and Dantzler out. I don't. They just got to get deeper now.
I would disagree with you.
Okay.
At first, I thought this comment that just came through was a joke because of my years of like conditioning.
Oh no, it's
Yep, it's
very
real.
I think
That's
Detroit
what I was
will win the
gonna say.
division.
Hey,
No,
this
their
year, to be
their
honest.
projected win total came out at 9.5.
Yeah, I think they're going to win 11 games.
Yep.
I think Detroit will win the division this year.
Probably playing that third place schedule.
Yep. So with that, let's give a little shine to our guest in studio, our friend of the show, Dylan Gelzo, is going to take us through Wild Watch because he knows the sport better.
Coming off a big win last night,
Big
buddy.
win last night. Yeah, Avs, great team. Won 4-2. Goudreau with the 2 shorties and 40s. Gotta love that.
So
Gustafson.
close to that,
know.
to that
I know.
shorthanded hat trick would have been the third in NHL history.
Yeah, would have been
really cool.
phenomenal. That does not happen a lot, and it's fun to watch. Fun hockey to watch. But, I mean, honestly, defensively, we played out of our minds yesterday. We had to. That Avalanche offense is out of their mind. They're phenomenal. So, I mean, moving forward here, we have to keep playing the same play, and especially with Kirill still out. But this is big for us. Get 2 points, and hopefully coming up next week, we can beat the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah.
Secure our division.
So a couple of things here. You're obviously a little more akin to the ice than me and Mike are.
Yes.
Kirill gets back on skates yesterday. What's the timetable you think on his return then?
I don't think Dean or even Bill Guerin is going to really push anything on that because they want him as healthy as he can be for playoffs. I think he's still going to be out game 1 against Vegas, and then he might play game 2, but he's not going to. I don't think he's going to see the ice time that he saw because, again, want him as healthy as he can be, want that leg solid going into playoffs because we don't want to mess around. But again, our team has picked up the pace without having him there, and it's nice to see. I mean, Matt Boldy has been on a bender. I mean, he had 9 goals in 10 games.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And
a Hattie on top of that, awesome. But, I mean, everyone's picking up the pace. Foligno, Zuccarello, Hartman. Hartsey getting on the board all the time. He's big in every game. He's a huge impact. But also with Brodin. Brodin's been phenomenal on defense. Same with Spurgeon. I would like to see Dumba and Klingberg kind of pick it up a little bit. But everybody else has been – they've been doing their part. They've been coming together because they know their biggest asset on the team, Kirill's been out, and they don't know when he's going to be back.
Yeah,
So it's just
absolutely.
been questionable.
Absolutely.
What did Boldy and Kirill play on the same line ever?
Yes.
They did.
Yep.
Do they split them up when he comes back?
Yep. So they'll split them up, and they'll have probably either Zuccarello and Hartman and Kirill, or it'll be Zuccarello, Kirill for sure, and then they'll put somebody else on line. But they're going to have Boldy as a hot second liner because they know he'll perform with anybody who's on his line, and you're probably going to line him up with Eriksson Ek and either Foligno or Hartman. I'd say that's going to be the lineup of those first, second lines, but our first, second line is going to be hot. And then, obviously, we got that third, fourth line. Revo. Gotta love Revo. He scored 4 goals in, 9 games. That's huge. And he had a Gordie Howe hat trick. I mean, come on. It's Ryan Reeves.
Yeah. That guy
How about the
never
goalie
scores.
Situation. Has that clarified now?
I think it's
Who
still.
would you start
I
in
think it's
game
still
1 of a
split,
series right now?
Who would I start in game 1 of a series? Oh, man.
After last night.
That's a clear no. I feel like right
After
there.
last night, you have to say it's Gustafson, right? Because between you, playoff level hockey was the thing that me and Mike
It's
thought
a
we
hard
hadn't
debate
seen.
though, because I mean I've been watching hockey for obviously forever, but so you have the guy who's Hall of Famer goalie, right? Has the experience, has multiple Stanley Cups under his belt, but then you have the guy who actually fucking performs.
Mike will argue you on the fact that he performs these days.
I love Fleury. I love Fleury. He's my favorite goalie I've ever watched. I love him.
So who are you starting in game 1, Dylan?
Gustafson.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I especially last night. So when
Which
we were
won't
talking
happen, by
about
the way.
when we were talking about
No,
playoff
unfortunately, it won't.
It won't. Fleury
won't.
will start. I guarantee it.
when we were
That's
talking
what happened
about
last year.
playoff hockey earlier when he played against the Bruins, right? We were like, hey, we'd like to see what his ceiling is. He did kind of seem like he got the doors blown off of him in that game. To see him last night, between that game and last night, where 18 saves in the third period, the guy's standing on his head pretty much all game against a very good team. Our star's out. We've got health concerns in other spots. Obviously not the Wild's best night.
42 saves.
That's phenomenal. That's your guy.
Against the Avalanche offense.
That's your guy.
That's basically number 2 offense in the league besides Boston.
Yeah.
If you're looking at names and numbers alone, it's
So the Wild are 7-1-2 in their last 10. They lead the Central Division by 3 points currently. They do have one more game played than the Stars and Avalanche. They are only 1 point behind the Vegas Golden Knights for the 1 seed in the Western Conference, and we do see the Knights on Saturday, April Fool's Day, and Monday, April 3rd, before we see you guys next Thursday.
Predictions, Dylan, for the Golden Knight games coming up?
dude, that's honestly coin flip, but I want to say us first game, and depending on if we have Kirill second game, I don't know.
It'd be nice to just win one of them and then maybe steal a
Right.
point from the other.
If we can win one in regulation, we get 2 points. That puts us 1 ahead of them, and then let's say
Overtime loss. Take it.
overtime
That's fine.
L, then we're tied.
Walk out tied.
We walk out tied. That's end game scenario. That's what I go with.
All right.
I'd be okay with that.
Well, let's transition over to the by 1 game Minnesota Timberwolves, 1 game above 500 on the season, sitting in the 7 seed, 5-5 in their last 10, pretty much just treading water.
This last week for Minnesota Timberwolves basketball has been a synopsis of what the remainder of Minnesota Timberwolves basketball is going to look like. Oh, hey, look, a couple of wins, and then a contender, and you take a fat L because they had. Even though they tried their hardest last night against the Suns, when the Suns actually wanted to take that game over, they did. And it was pretty evident. And that's who the Wolves are this year. They might get into the 6th seed and steal a game. And then you're going to wonder who these guys are when they play the rest of that series.
I really think it really depends on who we have as a matchup in the first series. If you give us the Kings round 1, I don't know if I like the Kings' chances in that 7-game series. I really don't. If you give us the Suns, yeah, we all know how that's going, right? So it really just depends on who we get. I would almost like to take on the Grizzlies, too, if I'm being honest. Stay away from the Suns, stay away from the Nuggets. It's really going to be how it all plays out down the stretch because we are just a couple games out of the 5 seed, but we are 1 game out of falling out of contention for a playoff spot. So
yeah, I will say this. Credit where credit is due. Cat has fit in better than expected on his return.
5 games left.
He has taken a little bit of a back seat and just been there. And I'm cool with that. Obviously, we're gonna see if that persists as we close in on the playoffs. But your thoughts on Cat's return so far?
Yeah, like you said, I would actually agree with you. Has been a little bit more of a cog in the machine instead of something that's going the opposite way. It seems like he's actually going with the flow of the team now, which is nice to see.
We like it. Stay at it, Cat. Thank you.
Twins teaser. Let's pivot to opening day. Happy opening day, everybody.
Yeah, it doesn't quite seem that way in Minnesota because I'm pretty sure I still had icicles hanging off my windows this morning, but it is here. They open up the season in Kansas City tonight with Pablo Lopez stepping on the bump. Your projected starters for the week are going to be then Sonny Gray, Joe Ryan, Tyler Mahe, and Kenta Maeda as we move into the Marlins series. That'll take us through the 5th before we see you guys again. As far as news ahead of the season, a couple of comments here. First of all, Ober was the odd man out in the rotation this year. Interesting to see him option down to AAA instead of staying up as a long relief option for the Twins with their notorious short starts.
I think he's the odd man out right now.
Okay.
You really don't know what Maeda is going to give you over a long period of time with how long he's been out. You're going to see Ober pitch for the Twins this year, period.
Yeah.
So it's just
absolutely.
how long does that take?
Well, I mean, you're going to see him. You're likely going to see Josh Winder. You're likely going to see Louis Varland at some point.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys, obviously, that'll break into that rotation. And then, kind of in the same vein, Sonny Gray doubles down on his comments from about a year ago, saying that I don't think we're going to be satisfied with four or five inning starts anymore. Are you again? We'll ask. Are you buying the longer starts and heavier workload for the starting rotation of the Minnesota Twins this year?
I'm going to buy it to an extent.
Okay.
What I would really, really like to see out of the Twins this year is just make a quality start the benchmark.
6 innings.
If you
Bang.
can give me 6 innings, let up 3 runs, I'm cool with it. Go take your 5 days off. I'll see you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if we can just be consistent with quality starts, that would be an absolute godsend from our pitching rotation. And honestly, I saw a graphic on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter.
Oh,
There we go.
wait, Mike's on Twitter?
That had the Minnesota Twins pitching rotation from this year all the way back to 2000.
Mm-hmm.
There was maybe 1 year that the rotation looked better at opening.
Right? No, absolutely.
So this is exciting.
Like I said, the Twins are missing the one.
Yeah, I mean, we're not the Yankees pitching rotation.
Sure.
But-
But here's what I'll tell you.
Compared to the last 20 years of rotations that we've had.
And even if you looked at the rest of the league, the Twins might have one of the deeper starting rotations on opening day this year. They've got
Three starter. That's how I
but
see
when
it.
they play 3-starter versus 4-starter and 3-starter versus 5-starter and
6.
3-starter
Yeah,
versus
that's 500.
3-starter, like those games are advantage us.
Oh, yeah.
And
It's 500 baseball.
it's 500 baseball, but here's the thing. You play 500 baseball, you win some, you lose some. Now you're at 90 wins. Seriously though,
no,
you play 500
82.
baseball.
82 wins.
81 is
81
81
wins.
and 81 is 500 baseball.
Yeah.
If you can steal 9 games, you're at 90 wins. That wins the Central.
But I don't think it's 3-starter. Pablo Lopez is a 2.
He's a true 2.
Is a
think
true
that-
2.
I think Joe Ryan
has
could
a
be
chance.
a 2.
And I think, I was going to say, Joe Ryan is developing into a true 2. And
Sonny
then
Gray
it's,
was a 1 in Cincinnati because they were god awful.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
well, so was Tyler Mahe, right? And Mahe, if he can figure out his velocity stuff, his upside was a 1.
Yeah.
So like,
it might
a
be
much
3
deeper
A's,
rotation.
3A, 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 3A.
Yeah.
Sure. No, hey, I mean, it is strong. It's just one of those things. You get so fucking tired of just like, wow, what a good value squad we've got again.
But they did it right this time.
But I will
They
say
are
this.
building
We
it.
have been saying that for the last 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
But on paper, this is. But we really have. That's the Twins' way.
I know.
We've been doing it for
We
40
know.
years. But on paper, this is the highest value squad that we've put together with our little pieces going into opening day. Seriously, in
We
25
sound like
years, that's
such a
something
bunch
to be
of
optimistic
fucking
about.
cucks. It's
But here's the thing: the other part is, for the first time in a long time, I also have confidence in if we make the quality start, the average, like the benchmark, that the
I think we'll be able
bullpen
to put up-
isn't going to blow ridiculous
And I
leads
think our offense
either.
is going to be able to put up 4 runs and win games 4-3.
I would agree.
This is a whole conversation of people just going like, no, like seriously, like not that bad.
This is the same
that
argument.
bad.
This is the same argument I just made on Lamar Jackson.
No, I
and
know,
now
I know.
Mike's bought in.
It's just
I
I do it
agree
too.
with it on the
I'm just-
Twins because I feel like the numbers support it.
well,
Jesus
and plus we
Christ.
can't afford it anyway. I mean, we shouldn't be spending all that money.
you're not wrong.
I mean, who knows?
I'm not wrong. Go look at our starting rotation pitching statistics for this year.
Well, it's just a start rotation.
Yeah,
It's
there we
not,
go.
but-
There we
Here's
go.
where
All
our
right,
money
and then Mike, you want to kind of
Sorry.
talk the people through the new little Twins ticker we're going to do throughout the entire season here?
We're going to do a Twins ticker for this season. No, more.
more.
Nick and I are going to make 2 predictions per week about the Minnesota Twins. They have to be based in statistical fact because we have to be able to check them.
Yep. They have to be qualifiable.
They have to be quantifiable.
Qualifiable, quantifiable, whatever you want.
Quantifiable.
They have to be quantifiable.
Something with a Q.
If we get it correct, we get a point. If we don't, we get 0 points. Next week, after our 2 predictions this week, we're going to have 0, 1, or 2 points on our Twins tracker, and we'll keep it moving forward.
Yeah. At the end of the season, me and Mike will do some kind of crazy giveaway or something. Maybe we can play against you guys. Maybe you guys can vote to see who you think is going to win throughout the season and something like that, and give something away. So, Mike, let's start with you. And Dylan, we'll have you do 2 as well.
What am I? Okay.
We'll have Mike go first since you weren't listening. Mike, give me 2 predictions that will happen to the Minnesota Twins before the 5th.
Oof. So before the 5th, I might have to change this one. So I'll go to my second one first. Joey Gallo is hitting less than 200
Oh, okay.
by the 5th.
Okay.
If you would have said something positive, I would have fucking just thrown up back here. But okay.
All right.
Thank you.
And your other one.
I had the Twins will finish both series at 3-3. I'd really like to keep that if we could. It's still quantifiable. We can check it. It just won't be done by next show.
Sure.
I think we're going to be 500 coming out of these 2 series.
Fair enough.
3. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. I have that by the end of this series of games, I'm taking this chunk of 5, that the Twins will have 2 starters who exit the game at 6 or more innings.
Okay. I agree with that. Yep. I
Okay.
like it.
And then the other one is I believe that Jose Miranda will have 3 home runs by the time we visit with you guys next week.
I hope you're right, but I don't think you're going to be. All right. Well,
Get that
those are
man
our,
off the screen.
He just loves hearing you guys justify mediocrity.
Thanks, Hall of Fame Joe.
It really hits him
Thanks,
right
Hall
in
of
the
Fame
right
Joe.
in the
We'll see you
heart.
later, man.
All right, Dylan, you want to give us your 2?
2 predictions about the Twins that are going to be quantifiable
I
over
don't
the
know.
first 2 series.
They
of
beat the
season.
Marlins on the 3rd, and then Jose Miranda gets a homer. How about that?
Fair enough.
I don't know.
Oh, that's super easy.
Yeah.
All Miranda has to do is get a homer.
Yeah.
All right. Let's transition into a talking point.
Yeah, what is it going to be, Mike?
McDonald's High School All-American game, and LeBron James' son, Bronny, was in attendance.
Not only in attendance, participated first in the slam dunk contest. Did you see this?
I saw that he finished second.
I did. Yeah, I did see that as well. I will say this though, a little impressed for a guy that's 6'3" to show off the level of athleticism that he was able to show off. He's got more bounce than I thought. I've always kind of looked at Bryce as the better of the 2 players, to be quite honest with you. And Bronny just was a little undersized, maybe not quite as athletic, maybe not quite as heady, right? But
I have
impressed a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, Bronny James is a freak athlete. He's a top 50 player in his class in the United States. He's a great basketball player, great athlete, great genes.
The question is how much
I'm
of it
sure
is
he comes
hype.
from great resources, or has great resources at home as well. What do you consider, or what do you think of when you hear that the McDonald's High School All-American basketball game is happening? Who do you think of as the players in that game?
Oh, like Jordan and Kobe and
No, just
Tracy
like-
McGrady and
Well, even if they're no-name high school kids that you don't know.
Yeah.
But like if you turn it on, you know you're seeing blank players in the nation.
the best.
The best. So
Yeah.
there's 10 players on each team.
Yeah.
Roughly the top 20 players in the nation should be playing in that game.
Yeah.
Bronny's 35th in his class.
That's 100% one of those basketball politic things. The McDonald's brand wanted Bronny to be there.
No. Here's
The
what you guys
associ-
meant. He's an underdog. We should be
No.
pulling for him. Absolutely. I mean, how can
he
you not
has
root
been
for him?
handed every
He's
advantage.
35th. He's the lowest ranked guy on the whole. I mean, come on.
I will say.
He's there because of his name. Period.
Now
I
that is
fucking
true.
hate him.
That's true. But here's what I'll say: for you to then show up at this event as an
And finish
undersized
second in
the
same
dunk contest
was cool. But he
and
shouldn't
also then go into the game the following night with everybody paying attention and have an efficient performance where you score 16
again,
points.
he's good.
I
but-
believe he elevated his stock maybe just a little bit over the weekend.
My
actually
point
came in-
is,
Okay. I didn't
in a
look at
weird
June.
way, I will always argue for the fact
Yeah.
that he shouldn't have been given the opportunity to raise his
100%.
stock.
100% agree with you.
Because here's the thing that people like ignore about this entire argument. He took another kid's spot who was statistically more deserving to be there.
Oh,
Because
you
his
and the
name was not Bronny James.
you
Jr.
and the
God, if
statistics
money
today.
is a statistic.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dylan,
That's
you
the
got
sad
something
thing
for
about
us?
our
No, I'm
country.
just watching the dunk contest right now.
He was
He's-
impressive.
He whiffed twice.
Oh yeah, he's
But
springy
he's
for a
7'3"
6'3" guy. He's springy,
But the first one, I didn't know he could jump like that
wonder
high.
where he got
He's
that.
pretty bouncy.
right?
Yeah, I wonder where he gets that.
Yeah. His dad could hit his head on the moon if he wanted to.
Yeah.
But very bouncy. Yeah, raised his stock a little bit. So,
Let us know what you guys think about this.
do you think he elevates Ohio State back into being a little bit of a power basketball team next year?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like Ohio State is always towards the top of the Big Ten, right? It really just depends on if Purdue is up that year or
Well, even if Purdue is, Ohio's just got to finish as the 15 seed or whatever, and then play Purdue
right in the first
in
round.
the first round of the tournament.
All right. Well, let us know what you guys thought about Bronny going to the McDonald's High School All-American game and his dunk contest performance. Should he have been there in the first place?
Yeah.
We're going to pivot back to baseball. We're going to do our Major League Baseball Way Too Early awards.
Yeah, so these players came out via CBS Sports as the way too
Oh,
early
I picked mine.
MLB awards
I picked my
predictions.
own.
No, it's predictions. I just wanted to get your
Well, I'm
thoughts
curious
on
what
these
mine
guys.
are compared to these.
That's
Can I say mine first?
Sure, have at it, Mike.
So I got my AL. This is funny. I have my AL Cy Young Award winner is Tristan McKenzie.
Okay,
AL MVP is Shohei.
okay,
NL Cy Young as Aaron Nola.
okay,
And NL MVP Bryce Harper.
okay.
Respectable?
Not bad.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you put Bryce in there. Thanks.
In Shohei, which
And Shohei.
logically makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And then I picked the upper and comer as the AL Cy Young, Tristan McKenzie.
I like that. Gabe, you want to show us what CBS Sports had on the books for
Same
the way too
exact
early
four.
awards?
I'm a
Yeah.
genius.
Do you think I
Watch
could
this.
get you to stay in the same spot in your chair because you're making me fucking nuts with your shifting in your chair? That's what I was adjusting the thing.
No, you're all good.
Yeah, sorry.
So the MVPs are projected, by the way. These were voted on by a committee, or there was a panel of votes. So I just picked the name that recurred, which was Juan Soto and Shohei Ohtani. A little bit of interest here that you think Juan Soto, after kind of a down year last year, new team, stacked lineup. Obviously, we think statistically gets washed away in
I
lineups
personally
like
don't
that.
think the NL MVP is going to be Juan. No.
I don't think so either.
I think it will be.
I think
I actually do truly agree with you in this statistic, and that like Bryce Harper in a team that he's carrying a little bit more will have a more statistical presence.
Right.
The entire award is the most valuable player to your team, right? If you take Juan Soto away from the Padres, they're still a 100-win ball.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I
So
still
would agree
think
there.
that Soto can be the story. Like if he comes back and has a big year, he like that.
If he
team
has a
will be
huge year and they win
juggernaut.
110
Exactly.
games or something,
Yeah.
then
Oh,
he
yes.
will be the story.
Then yes, I
and he
just don't
will
see
win
that
it.
happening.
Well,
and I think he is set to do it. When you really look at his season, and I'm not a Juan Soto guy. We know that. I'm a hater.
Yeah,
But
Gabe hates anything that reaches the pinnacle of greatness.
yeah, sort of. But 22 years old or whatever he was, right? 23.
Yeah, 22 when he won the World
So
Series.
in that year, he was having a dispute with his team.
Yep.
He got left at the All-Star game, went to a new fucking team, and then struggled there right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And then the Tatis goes out. Like, that guy had a lot to deal with for a kid that age. So I think, and if you look at his numbers with the way he was seeing the ball and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I
he
don't
was
know. I
still,
think
he
he's
has
gonna
a
have
great
big
plate
year.
vision and
I
discipline.
mean, he's
and
an
stuff last
amazing
year.
player. That's not what we're saying at all, right?
No, we're just saying Bryce Harper's better.
No, I'm not even saying that. Legitimately, if you probably switch roles, I'll probably take Soto.
I'm trying to think who else. Yeah, who else might take it? Like, I mean, could Goldschmidt repeat?
No. The ghost
You
of
say
Paul
that? He almost
Goldschmidt,
won
maybe.
the fucking Triple Crown almost.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so Cy Young, it looks like you got Garrett Cole there, and I am unfortunately not familiar with who that Diamondback player is.
Gabe, actually, you could probably pull up the article.
Actually,
Do you
don't
not know
by
either?
the face.
I think it's Zach Gallen.
Zach
Gallen,
That's
that's
right.
right.
That is right.
That is right.
So
I
Zach,
know the name, just not the face.
So Zach Gallen's name popping up on this list surprised me because that would lead me to believe, because the Cy Young is a little bit of a win-heavy award. The last guy that won it without a great win total was Felix Hernandez, who had like
13.
13 wins. It may have even been 12 now that I think about it.
Look it up.
But that would lead me to believe that they think the Diamondbacks are going to have run support for Zach Gallen this year. You see, intrigued to see his name come up on this list?
I do think the Diamondbacks are going to be a better team this year.
Okay.
If they go 500 and he wins 15, 16, and has a 2-something ERA,
That ballpark's so big. It's so pitcher friendly.
could you see him winning it with 15 wins and a 2.4 ERA and they win 83 games?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's going to be his path if he does win it.
Gabe, were you interested to see Gallen up there on the list? I know you've been.
Not really. Like, I mean, he's just not someone who I really follow a lot.
Okay.
But I know for the American League, I'm liking Alek
Manoah. Yeah.
He's my, like, I was watching him last year, and I mean, he's, no one talked about that, how he was basically a rookie.
He lights
and a
the
half.
world on fire.
Yes.
He's so good.
He's fucking dominant.
Felix did have 13.
It's 13? Okay.
He did, yeah. And
That's
then
crazy.
For the National League, who's someone I've been really liking? I mean, I'm a big Scherzer guy, so I always root for him. I know he's long in the tooth, but I'll always, like, I actually really like him with the pitch clock
Yes.
thing. So I don't know that about
Heady.
Gallen, how he plays with that.
Yeah.
But that's a big thing. Scherzer is like licking his chops.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you saw his interview about it. He's just like,
messing with hitters big time.
oh, it's just fucking awesome. I mean,
So-
I gotta say, as much as I hate the pitch clock in certain ways, or I thought I did, I'm kind of enjoying seeing that whatever pitchers get this advantage.
I read an article yesterday that claimed the pitch clock is going to be like the baseball revolution.
That's what I just looked
That's-
up on the new
same.
rules.
It's probably the same article, right?
So
Yeah.
you got the pitch clock and shift.
Yeah.
Did you
Yep.
hear like the specific way that that Scherzer like laid out the way he fucks with them is with their timeouts?
Oh wait, yeah, you can't you can't shift this year. Harper's gonna
So
hit like
technically-
350.
So
Yeah.
technically you can, but there's rules, right? So you have to have 2 infield players on each side of second base.
Yeah.
But your shortstop can damn near be behind
Yeah.
second base still
But you have to stay on that side.
yeah.
until the pitch is released.
Correct.
Yes.
Until the pitch is released. You
So
can't
you
check
can
it.
still sprint over after the
I
pitch is
still
released.
hate the motherfucking
Yeah.
shift thing, but
I think it is kind of
And
stupid.
you can
but
still
yeah.
shift your outfield.
Fair enough.
yeah.
Fair enough.
So we saw an outfield like 2 days ago. It was one of the first
All
ones
I'm
that
saying
somebody
is-
has revealed in spring training with 3 outfielders basically in right field.
Pitch clock, huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
So
Yeah.
the NL,
All right, you guys don't want to
Or
break
the-
that down? Okay.
sorry,
You talking about the rookie of the year?
yeah, rookie there.
Yeah. I believe the Diamondbacks players' names these guys I don't know a ton about. I believe it's Corbin and Gunnar. Yeah,
Yep,
from
that's
Baltimore.
Gunnar Henderson, yep.
Yep. Gunnar Henderson's-
who's like the stud.
I was gonna say, yeah, he's been on people's radars for a minute now, hasn't he? It's
Yes.
kind of like the next big
No,
thing.
he is like the stud this year. He's the Wander this year. or
Oh,
whatever,
really?
Like that. Yeah, I mean,
5-tool guy, power.
so I'm hearing mixed things. Like people are kind of trying to act like this rookie class is just as good as last year's. I don't think
No
it is.
fucking way.
Like personally, but I don't know. You're hearing that stuff come on, and it's hard to know because young players are so much better now. They're so much more prepared. It seems like, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, I don't know. I'm more interested to see what Wander does this year and what Julio does. To see if Julio backs up and becomes Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
Part 2, and then to see if Wander becomes who he's supposed to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And once
and then
again,
Shohei to see if he cements himself as the greatest baseball player of all time this year.
yeah. And then comeback player of the year, last but not least, we got Chris Sale and Nick Castanello, I believe, who made the change from New York to San Francisco this year. Thoughts on this? Was really surprised, by the way. Fernando Tatis' name didn't even pop up on this list for comeback player of the year. And if he performs coming off that suspension, that's usually like the script for that kind of thing, isn't it?
I don't think because of steroids, right? Wouldn't they say like that's
Yeah.
whatever, like it's self-inflicted?
It's a very much a popularity contest, right?
Yeah.
So I think that does hurt him.
But I think he's really popular. Like I think he's insanely popular.
Well,
Which is
I
what-
agree, but I think that hurts his public image.
Yeah.
Yes,
From
no doubt.
what he's coming back from.
But if you're the league and that guy was like your face, would you not kind of want to make him the comeback player of the year to rehab his image?
I don't think
To
he's
be
the
honest,
face
I
anymore.
think, dude,
I think
here's
he'd
the
get
thing.
it back. in
As
2 years.
dumb as it sounds, your face is who's on the video game, right? And right now, the face of the MLB, if you want to judge it that way, is Jazz Chisholm, which he's
Julio. You know
Julio.
what? Jazz for comeback. Actually, Jazz could be a great comeback player too.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time on the
getting
IL.
more
did a
media.
lot.
He's 25. He's an international player.
And he pimps the fuck out of
He's
some
awesome. He's like everyone forgot about him for real.
So you also have Julio. You also have that's the thing.
Yeah.
You don't need to make it Fernando Tatis.
Yeah.
That was my entire point.
Fair enough.
Head shit, yeah.
Fair enough.
How about for the Twins? Someone's saying that the Twins, we have one of the candidates for it. Who the hell is it again?
As comeback player of the year?
Yes.
Byron Buxton.
Someone who's supposed to have a really big bounce back year. Damn
Joey
it.
Gallo.
No.
One of the pitchers, maybe?
No, it was a hitter,
Kenta?
and it was like a big slugger. I guess I'm blanking on it. Maybe
I'm going to throw Kenta Maeda in there as a dark horse.
I'm going to put Joey Gallo in there if we're picking Twins.
If Kenta wins like 14 games.
If Joey hits 30 and drives in 80 and hits
100%.
and even if it's only hitting 240, I'll take it.
I don't think he knows how to read. Have you ever looked into his eyes?
Who, Joey Gallo?
Yeah.
Yeah. Him and Cody Bellinger seem like best friends.
All right, let's keep it moving.
I saw
here.
one of the bench coaches tying his shoes for him.
All right.
I'm
Chugging
sorry.
the train here. NFL offseason. Aaron Rodgers, about 2 weeks ago, agreed to be traded to the Jets.
Publicly.
The paperwork is damn near done. What's the delay here? Let's talk about this.
So they're getting hung up apparently on this 13th overall pick this year coming from the Jets. If I'm the Packers or if I'm the Jets, does this pick really matter?
It's not what I heard is the hang-up.
What is the hang up?
That Rodgers may retire after 1 year in New
Yeah.
York.
Yeah,
And
which
New
is
York doesn't want to do this big, huge deal for him if he's going to retire after just 1 year.
Yeah.
So they want their assurances. And that's things like, how do you... Rodgers can sign a contract, but like if he retires...
Now, we got hot under the collar under the Lamar thing earlier. There was an article that I read that came from Chris Thomason about a week ago that said that if the Aaron Rodgers thing continues to struggle, what was the other set of ownership that was in on Kirk Cousins when he hit the open market before signing with the Vikings? It was the New York Jets. They were the only other ones willing to offer him guaranteed money. New coaching staff, I would agree. New GM, yeah, I gotcha. But Kirk's going to make the same kind of money, and he's got all the weapons. And if you're the Vikings, can you then sell Kirk for the whatever is the hang up with Aaron's deal?
I think there are more teams in the NFL today than there has been in the last 30 years that are in need of a solid quarterback.
Yeah.
It is crazy. Like, if you go down the list of teams in the NFL, half of them need a quarterback.
Yeah. Well, it's because I think you looked at all of a sudden, we talked about it 2 years ago. You
It
watched
aged out. The class aged out.
But you also watched that game, those set of games where it was Mahomes and Burrow, and then it was Mahomes and Allen, and then you're looking at the guys at the top, and you're going, "Oh, if we don't have that, we don't fucking stand a chance."
True, but the Bears didn't have Peyton Manning, and they almost beat him in the Super Bowl.
True,
Right?
true.
That's the thing. Is like, if you don't have that guy, there are different strategies that you have to take. You can't just replicate the Chiefs, and that's kind of what it seems like everybody's trying to do.
Yeah.
And then they say, "Well, we have Brock Purdy," so I don't. And it's just it's interesting. So
I gotcha.
mean, Kirk Cousins could start for a lot of teams in the NFL next year.
Yeah,
Are the Jets one of them? 100%. I think they're all in on Aaron Rodgers. How do you make a guy promise that he's going to be there for longer than a year?
Can't. Gabe, did you have news for us?
Yeah. I should have told you guys this before the show, but I actually have a little birdie, someone who I can't reveal, who's in very close to the Aaron Rodgers situation.
Okay.
And the real hang-up here is actually, it's not what Mike said. What it is they're trying to get him a good shroom dealer.
But
Do you know who my contact is?
Who?
My shroom dealer.
All right. And then Mayo replacement for Billy B.
Yeah, so Robert Kraft came out at the league meetings and pretty much was speaking the praises of Gerard Mayo, who is a former player for the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick, and has since been slowly elevating himself up the coaching staff. I thought this was kind of an interesting move and something I wanted to talk about, though, because when do you see Bill Belichick finally kick in the proverbial football head coaching bucket? And with their reinsertion of Billy O'Brien, who's making his NFL return, probably has head coaching aspirations as well, is that not your heir apparent right there?
Very possible. If I'm Robert Kraft, what I'm trying to put in place, because to be honest, Robert Kraft will probably be out the door before Bill Belichick is.
Yeah.
The Kraft family will continue running the Patriots, but it's continuing the Patriot way. So you need somebody who was under Bill as a coach, like Bill O'Brien, or as a player, like Gerard Mayo, who understands the Patriot way and how to do things and is going to continue that legacy.
Yeah.
Does it have to be Gerard Mayo? No. Is he a great candidate who knows the Patriot way? Yeah.
So you like him as a coach?
I like him as a coach, for sure. Does it, you said, does it have to, is this your heir apparent?
Yeah.
It's one of them.
Okay.
But
Fair enough.
I think if Bill continues to coach for 4 or 5 years, which I think he's going to, there will be others. Does that make sense?
Hey, actually, can I ask you guys, who is Belichick's greatest coaching progeny or whatever? Like who's
McDaniels.
3 years ago, I would have said Matt Patricia.
6 years ago, I would have said McDaniels.
It gets interesting because
What
it
about
seems
Mangini?
like
Mangini.
seems like their success on their side of the ball underneath Bill is almost transcendent, and then they get a head coaching job and they're unable to replicate it.
Bill has one of the most. Bill, as a limb on somebody's coaching tree, probably has more dead branches than any other coaching tree limb ever.
But he's got a lot of branches.
He's got a lot of branches. Got a lot of attempts. Every single one of them KIA.
Yep.
Every single one.
You know, we should do one day as a feature, as a segment, just the most successful coaching trees and just
We should.
debate it. Walsh, Holmgren, I suppose Holmgren's probably in Walsh's.
The dark horse that might win is Bud Grant because Walsh is actually in his.
Oh,
Ooh.
Yeah.
nice. Well done. Go Vikes.
Sex.
The Vikings were actually running the West Coast offense before the Niners.
Nice.
So, a little tidbit of fact for you. Bobby Wagner is going back to Seattle. I love this move
I
for
love it
him.
too.
I
I
love
love
this
it
move
too.
for the Seahawks.
Yep.
I don't know if they get better,
I think
but this one had me in my feels.
not only did I saw this and I immediately went, oh, Pete got his defensive
Got his guy back, yeah.
got
His defensive captain, right?
and with the youth movement that they put into that defense last year, and all, think about it, the two tackles.
No, it helps in the locker room.
This is a
It helps as
great
leader.
move.
I just don't know if they technically got better. Still a great move. I agree with it. Like I said, as a football fan, Bobby Wagner is a Seahawk.
Yeah.
Like, he needs to be in Seahawk colors on Sundays.
Yeah.
I don't know if it helps their defense actually get better.
They can't get worse. They cannot get worse adding him.
True.
Right? They can only get better. I don't know if they got better, but they cannot get worse with him in the room.
Let's remember 2 years ago they passed on him because he was aging out and getting slower. He's only gotten older and slower now. So I don't know. Like I said,
Can you play him differently now though, because you have so much speed around him that you were able to get? You know,
he can almost be a monster back in the middle of the field, right? He can basically read and just react.
like
but
late stage Ray Lewis.
I would still take late stage Ray Lewis.
I would too.
Over Bobby Wagner 5 years ago, even. With that, let's transition into UFC news.
Yeah, big fights coming up this weekend. First of all, we're going to get the pay-per-view with Jorge Masvidal versus Gilbert Burns, the much-awaited return of Jorge, and Izzy versus Pierre, technically Volume 4, UFC's Volume 2. Let's kind of go around the room here. First on the Gilbert Burns-Masvidal fight. Gabe, Dylan, thoughts?
I think that Masvidal is going to get trucked. I think that he
Okay.
is past. I think he's just past his expiration date. I don't think he believes in himself. I know he took the time off to try to, get those whatever.
He had to get
some
right.
wrestling in his
Yeah.
game, but too late. He's, the guy's put on a ton of miles. He's a legend in the sport.
20 years.
Yeah. But
It's a
even to say
long
he's a
time.
legend in the sport, I don't even know if that's true. He's mostly a hype.
Oh,
show.
he's a legend in his own right.
Jorge Masvidal?
Yes.
Am I thinking of the wrong guy?
Game bred, cover at UFC.
20 years in the sport?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
super
38.
popular.
Yeah, he started
Really?
he started at 18 in
Yeah,
MMA.
he was fighting Kimbo Slice.
Yeah, he was fighting in
backyards.
Kimbo
Like,
Slice's.
have you never seen the Kimbo Slice backyard video
Yeah.
when he was like a kid?
You didn't
beating
know
the
that?
shit out of people?
Did not know that. To be honest,
Yeah.
he came on my radar when he kneed Ben Askren.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
right.
thought that was a lucky win,
So-
and I've kind of hated him ever since.
that's when he came on everyone's radar.
Just
really.
being honest.
But
Like,
he had
for
been-
real.
Did
He-
not know he was 38. Thought he was
he-
like a 25-year-old kid.
No, he had
Really
actually he had, and it's funny because they talk about this because
2003.
he
Yeah,
went
nuts,
through
man. I did not know that.
he went through a ton of brand, like he changed his brand up really well because he had been with Strikeforce, he had been with
Bellator, Shark Fights, and then World Victory Road, and then came to UFC.
and then came into the UFC. And
Oh, you forgot his reality show.
Oh,
He went and did his reality show to get space from the sport. I mean,
Yeah.
he was almost out in
yeah,
his 20s.
and then Dan Lambert really he built American Top Team on the backs of guys like Masvidal. Constantly invested in guys like that. So
Did not know that. Yeah.
yeah, cool
Learn
background
something new every day.
on him. I do think after watching the way that Gilbert Burns just chewed up his last opponent on the ground, that Masvidal's in for a rough night. I don't think he gets put out, but I think he's going to get well handled by Gilbert Burns.
To think that was his weakness. That's what he went to work on, and then he comes back with Gilbert Burns.
That's
It's
just a
almost
bad,
cruel.
a reinvested Gilbert Burns in his jiu-jitsu, not the
Right.
striker that Kamara knocked out. It's just very different, very different.
Yeah.
Then we've got the Izzy versus Piera. This is Izzy's last chance, guys. You think he's going to get can he finally put him away?
I'm going to say no.
I don't think it's possible.
Piera's a heavyweight. Are we like
Right.
let's be real.
come on.
And he's got him. This is big brother, little brother shit, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when you've knocked someone out that many times, it's like, I mean, he's got to be looking I actually respect Izzy that he is going back into it like this. If he puts on a good fight and if he wins, holy shit.
Man, do you have to do a fifth?
I got to think I say let the man go for Christ's sake. He earns
Just be
it.
done.
It really would be so impressive.
It's just so crazy to me though, because you look back at that first fight and you go, if the first round was 9 seconds longer, Izzy wins that fight.
I'd be putting him back in John Jones's class almost.
Yeah.
Where it's like a believable, because that would be amazing. Mm-hmm. I would say his mind is stronger than I would have ever given it credit for.
I have noticed Izzy has been abnormally quiet in the lead up to this fight. The UFC embeddeds, not as much airtime for interviews. His camp has said that he has been very, almost like stoic and locked in ahead of this fight instead of his normal, playful, joking, talking shit to the media type self. Does that mean anything to anybody in here?
He has to wrestle. That's all that I care about. It's like,
true.
Can you figure out how to wrestle?
Get him
Yeah.
on the ground.
Does not talking to the media really impact him leaning on his instincts in a 3-second win? Does it actually play out?
I don't know. It could.
It might help his mental focus leading into it, which could help his performance, but I don't think. I
He
think
might
it's,
speak to his state of mind, though.
Right.
Yeah.
That's more what I'm saying, right? Like he has cut out any of the air, it
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
seems like.
But how much does that truly relate to performance? Is the question.
Good question.
Yeah, don't know.
Right.
Good question.
Just
Good
looking
question.
up some of the predictions here. Majority of people are saying Masvidal is gonna.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. It's
And then the Sandhagen fight results.
Yeah, well, you actually kind of had your own little Sandhagen experience over the weekend. Some crazy judging to the point where Dana White comes out right after the fight and says, "Don't worry, I'm gonna handle that." I'm gonna ask Gabe first because Gabe was a devout boxing fan for a long time. Do instances like this scare you that UFC has the ability to kind of fall in the same direction of boxing, where so many of these major fights come down to a decision with a scoring system that doesn't seem perfect?
I think it's just truly a matter of it's such a fucking flawed system.
Yes.
That, with boxing, it is so clearly like the promoter has the home field advantage, and
Yep.
then whoopsie daisy, somehow, that guy won too. With UFC, it's like it's not necessarily going the way that Dana wants it to. He wants, fair fights.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Like, it's not good for the sport.
And
so.
that's like the
I think
third
it's
or
just
fourth time.
incompetence.
That's like the third or fourth time this year where there have been major score disputes
Yeah.
on main events.
Well, my understanding is that it's all through the sanctioning body, that UFC can't touch it, and that we took boxing judges and converted them to UFC, and it's a shit show. It's so fucking stupid.
I have a really dumb question because this is coming from a place of ignorance about the sport. I'll make that very clear.
Sure.
Why not almost do like a tally system where a completed strike is a point?
Sure.
Or a takedown is a point, or
Because
like almost high school
that
wrestling-esque.
The reason why, and they explored a lot of this when UFC was first coming up.
I just feel like it might be easy. You can't dispute it as much, right?
I thought
Dana
that is part of the.
Dana, yeah, and that's part of
Yeah.
what's in it now. But Dana has always wanted the score to be scored on accumulated damage as the leading factor. So let's think back to the Peter Yan fight versus Sugar Sean. Peter Yan dominates most of that fight, but in the moments where they both engaged,
Yeah.
Sugar Sean dealt all of the damage.
I agree.
And to me, that is a win. A fight is who would you rather be at the end of that fight? That's your winner.
Wrestling holds a very odd
I
and
think
kind
that's-
of weird advantage. in
That might
UFC
be a
sometimes.
different point of view than fighters even take at fighting, though, if I'm being honest.
That literally, what I quoted
That's-
to you right
but
there
that's
is
'cause
a
they are
quote
fighting
from
to the
a
rule.
UFC fighter on the scoring system.
It's literally based on who is more dominant in one fighter in a particular round. This is from UFC.
So dominant
Yeah.
is a different word than
Meaning-
beat up, right?
Well,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, but
Yeah.
it's
That-
essentially
that's
who
all
kicked
I'm
the
saying is
shit
the
out of each
contrast-
other more.
Basically, but it could be on the ground. You're not beating someone up if you're dominant on. If you go out and take somebody down in the first 3 seconds and just keep them on the ground for 5 minutes and
Right.
dominate, you're not beating that guy
No,
up.
you're
Based
not.
off a 10-point system, three
But that's a
judges
win.
score each round separately, giving
Yeah.
10 points to
Right.
the winner of the round, usually 9 or less. Based on how dominant one fighter was in.
Yeah.
a
But that
particular
scoring
And a lot of
system
the
was
fighters,
yeah.
And,
right.
and our judgment right here of the difference between dominant and being beat up, that's not objective enough for it to be a
Yeah, like-
competent scoring system in a billion-dollar industry.
100%.
Agreed.
Well,
100%.
I mean, you literally couldn't do worse, but than what it is. But
Oh,
it is judging, so it is going to be subjective. We can't do it with computers. It's not like K-Zone.
No,
There's always
yeah,
going to
yeah.
be some judgment with it. And I think the damage thing is really. It's always going to be tough. There's always going to be debate and conflict, and that's good. We just want to avoid these fucking robberies.
Well, and the thing that really wants to be avoided, and the reason why Dana doesn't want to go to such a boxing like Floyd. Let's be real. Floyd Mayweather was a great fighter because he knew how to touch people, sometimes not even hard, and not get touched.
He fought to the system.
He fought to the system.
Yeah.
And Dana believed that that's part of what tainted boxing because you weren't getting the action that you're supposed to get.
Right.
So they try their hardest to steer away from that. But how do you do that on this point system where you could literally crotch sniff for 5 minutes, go back to your corner, and claim that you won a round?
Right.
Yeah.
But you could.
One solution, as terrible as it sounds, is go back in time to the 1900s and be like, wait, round limit? Who said round limit?
Yeah.
I could solve it.
Like, let's go. One of
And
you
this-
guys is leaving the ring and one isn't. Who's the winner? That's one solution, as
Yeah.
barbaric as it sounds. It's technically a solution.
And mine is
Coliseum.
and I get that this is not like PC or whatever. It's not likely to happen. But
Buckle up.
if you did take each fighter's girlfriend and chain them to the corner, and then
And I thought
whoever
mine was
won-
bad, to be honest.
Okay.
I thought mine was bad. And I was like, there's no way.
And then whoever wins gets to,
Is that a cliff?
All right. Donald Cerrone as a Hall of Famer.
No.
they would not quit.
I
just-
would
I
agree with
don't
you.
see
Hall
it.
of Very great.
And now,
Hall of Very good.
Now, here's what I'll say. Gabe has made some arguments on this show where he says that maybe it's just our generation, right? Now, Gabe is probably his interest in fighting was the prime of, or the peak of what Donald Cerrone was able to accomplish. Gabe, do you think him at his best was ever a Hall of Fame level UFC talent?
Okay. Donald Cerrone, and this is almost hard for me to say, but like he should be in the Hall of Fame because of what he represents to the sport. Yes, you're exactly right. Like in that era, that early era when truly he used to pat himself on the back how he didn't prepare for fights, how he didn't watch tape, how he just
Yeah.
like he'd go in there and wing it. And it's like in a way that was cool back in the day, and now it just sounds stupid. Like it
At
sounds
his
like this.
best, I would say he's a Hall of Fame level.
No,
At his
he's
best.
not a Hall of Famer.
No, guys, he just his longevity, the stuff like that. It's the worst kind of Hall of Famer, but it's Hall of Famer.
2006.
He's Scott Rowland.
If he wasn't in it, I mean, he's more like
lot.
I hate Cal Ripken, and I put him in the Cal Ripken space. I despise Cal Ripken.
I don't know, man. I don't know if your popularity in the UFC coming from how well you get knocked out is Hall of Fame worthy.
That
You're
wasn't-
talking about
that
the
wasn't
last
who
3
he-
years,
yeah.
Gonna
man.
shout his Joe.
You
Yeah,
forgot.
what just showed us.
I
He
mean,
had a belt, right?
I don't think did he ever win
He
a
won a
title?
belt.
No.
Never? I got to look it up now.
Fight history.
I don't think
Damn
he.
it. I thought
Because
he
he
did
fought
for
at
just a minute.
155,
It might
145,
have
and
been
170.
interim.
I don't think he ever won a belt.
Oh, man. You got to remember how far back this dude goes.
06?
No.
I have it right here.
No, I'm saying he never won a belt.
Well, no, not enough. I'm just saying he goes back to 06.
Gabe.
Are one of you guys looking? I don't know.
I'm looking right
I'm
now.
scrolling.
Third most bouts in UFC history. Second most wins in UFC lightweight history. Third most finishes in UFC lightweight history. Most knockdowns in UFC history. Tied for most post-fight bonus awards.
Ooh.
Tied for second most finishes in UFC history. Tied for second most wins in UFC history. Performance of the night 7 times. Submission of the night 2 times. Knockout of the night 3 times. Fight of the night 6 times. I don't have a belt though.
I thought he was an interim champ, but it just interim, so it wouldn't matter anyway.
But like he was good enough to get fights against
he
the
was.
top of his weight division for years.
No, guys,
I
he
hate-
was huge for a long time.
I hate
It
to
just-
do this.
We saw the end.
I hate to do this to Donald Cerrone, but he's one of those guys that maybe if he would have retired 3 years ago, this is an easier conversation to have.
Oh, yeah.
And now, because he has maybe limited his legacy a little bit, if there's going to be a gatekeeper for what should keep what the Hall of Fame should and shouldn't be, go ahead and make Donald Cerrone the line.
I think that we just got to look at it as, do we want these
that fair?
fighters to retire early? Or because BJ Penn did the exact same thing. And BJ Penn, like, it's hard for me to remember what was great about BJ Penn, but he was incredible for
So
Whatever, 8 years.
I found the belt question finally. So Cerrone only got one chance at a belt, but it was against Rafael Dos Anjos. Made quick work of Cowboy to retain the belt. Cerrone's
Ooh.
exciting fighting style has made him a fan favorite. That is something that cannot be taken away from him. He was always willing to step in and take
and that is a big part of the sport.
on short
Like, at
notice
the end
or
of
at
the
any
day.
weight.
Yeah, but what that means, by the way, because the UFC has operated on a ranking system for a long time, as far as ranking fighters and who fights who.
Yeah,
If
they
you're
violated
only
it.
in one title fight, that means you're Derek Lewis. That means you were around a lot, but when it came to top tier talent, you couldn't secure it.
He was the most active fighter on the roster during his 11 years.
This sport
That's insane,
That's
actually.
emerged.
That's nuts, dude.
this sport has emerged from prize fighting.
He had the most fights, the most knockouts, the most wins. He's in the record
Right.
books
Yeah.
in
Look at your
everything
boy
other
Conor
than
McGregor.
like belt.
Like, that dude is not ranked. He shouldn't be getting the fights he does. It's because
I
he
started
puts butts
saying
in the
no.
street.
I actually had to say yes now.
Oh, I
yeah.
know. It's the
Had
most
to read the numbers.
begrudging.
When you
like,
when
yes,
you look at his resume, I get it. I don't know. That's
I think
tough
if he's
one for
not
me.
in, how did so you have to win a belt to ever even be considered for the Hall of Fame if he doesn't get in? I don't know if that's right.
Do you have to win a Super Bowl ring? Do you have to have
Right.
a World Series?
I don't think
No.
no.
Would
Do
be my
you?
Not if you're overwhelmingly
Do you?
like popular
Dan
in
Marino
other
should
ways.
be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Never won a ring.
Yeah.
So
Peterson, Moss. Yeah.
all right, let's transition back to baseball for our last segment of the day. We're going to continue our MLB 30 under 30 teaser. Today we have 26-year-olds. Man, do you remember me in 26? Whew, long time ago.
It's unfortunately he's looking at it he's
Yeah,
looking
I got
forward. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And Mike is
Long
back
gone.
there.
See you never.
So our 26-year-olds for today. You're
whoa,
not
whoa,
even
hang on,
26
hang
yet?
on.
I'm 25.
Before
Is
we
he old
inter-
enough to be on the show?
before we introduce the 26-year-olds, why don't we break down who we've gone over so far and kind of put them in order? This is the 30 under 30 list. We figure at some point we should maybe start ranking some of these, right?
Sure, if we want to do that.
Gabe, you got a graphic for me?
It's coming, but I was just going to ask you which one of these two goes up first.
The one with all the names on it.
Okay. Thank you. It will come.
Thank you. So we've gone through ages 30 through 27 at this point. Mike, you want to? There we go. Perfect.
So I'm guessing that's your list in order.
Exactly. And I was hoping to just get your thoughts on it. So from top to bottom, we've got Shohei Ohtani, Bryce Harper, Mookie Betts, Aaron Judge, Francisco Lindor, Alex Bregman, Xander Bogaerts, Carlos Correa, and then Sandy Alcantara as the lone 27-year-old on the list. Mike, any gripes with who we've got so far and where they're at?
Because I love you and you're my best friend, and we finally got Bregman's name right, there is an E in Bogarts.
Thank you.
Okay. Pretty much agree, man. Yeah, I would take Bogarts over Correa as a Twins fan. I would take Lindor over Correa as a shortstop as a Twins fan.
Yeah.
The only one I might argue, I might take Judge over Betts. But yeah, I pretty much agree.
Mark Grace is on the above number 1 there, Gabe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I was
Should
just
be higher
making.
up.
No, you're good. You're good.
He's like 4 or 5 on this list.
And then I'm kind of disappointed that we don't have the video because we're going to be going over some names today, Mike, that I think are going to be that's going to mix this list up quite a bit.
Yeah, I think
What
a few of them.
Yeah,
This is going to make me sound stupid.
yeah.
But I sort of have never been able to follow that. Like, we're doing 30 under 30.
Yeah.
But then we're doing like each age each week. Like you said, 26. These guys
So
are
it's
older.
30 players.
Under
It's
the
the
age
30
of 30.
best
Right.
players under 30 years old, and we're going by age to count down all 30.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 27, there's only one player on our list that's in the top 30 under 30.
That's what
as
was
a
fucking me up.
27-year-old. Does
Okay.
that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah. So yeah, I thought we were doing like 10 at 20.
Yeah,
age
Nick does
26 or
his shit
whatever. Okay,
in weird
yeah.
ways.
Got
You just got to
Hey,
figure it out.
Gabe said don't copy other shows, right?
Right.
So we're doing it different.
Good.
Good.
Okay.
All right, so the 26-year-olds, Rafael Devers out of Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's above Correa. He's probably above Bogarts to me, too. So, yeah, he's going to switch up the list. Yordan Alvarez out of Houston.
Best hitter in baseball.
Right now, I would say probably the most terrifying guy to be standing on the bump against in baseball. I would agree with Gabe. Like light tower power, every homer. I was showing some highlights to Dylan, who's not a huge baseball
You hear
fan.
the crack of that dude's bat.
Yeah,
and you're
Dylan-
like, that thing is fucking.
Dylan was
gone.
setting up the studio, and I'm over here watching highlights of him hit homers on my phone, and Dylan goes, I can hear that from over
I
here.
literally heard it from over here. And
The,
I'm like, wow.
the only thing about him is that's all he brings.
Who
I mean,
gives a
he
shit?
All
Exactly.
I'm saying.
he plays decent right field at times when they need him to. The Astros haven't needed him to.
I know. I know. I'm just saying, would I rather start my franchise around Aaron Judge or him? I personally would choose Judge because he can play the field and he's got a good arm.
I hear
That's
that
fine, I can
argument.
stand
I
alone
hear
on this
the
one.
argument.
I hear the argument, but
Yeah,
I'm gonna
no,
disagree
I'm
with
not
you.
saying that's crazy. It's just one of those things. Like the thing about
So, like, here's the thing. At the end of this, we are going to rank them as the top 30 players under
Oh, yeah.
30, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm making
That's
my
what we're doing.
argument that I personally wouldn't put him at the top of the list because all he brings is an elite level bat.
that's because Otani's at the top of the list. But
Well, I wouldn't
yeah.
put him second because all he brings is an elite level bat.
I wouldn't put him
Because I think
third.
Bryce Harper brings an elite level bat as well, but
he
can
fields.
also do other shit.
Right.
Yeah,
Like, let's
like
be honest
fucking-
about this.
yeah,
Yeah,
right?
no, that's true. I mean,
Like
you're
eight
not
games in
wrong.
your clubhouse.
But here's the thing. He's also 26. It's where these guys are 28, 29, 30.
Yeah.
If Yordan Alvarez puts it together at an insane clip like he has the last 2 years for the next 4, he'd be a one or two of the best players in baseball.
If Carlos Correa hits 50 home runs, he'd probably be at the top of the list.
You're very
This-
true.
This
You know
is
what
what
I mean? Like, we can play ifs and buts all day.
This
So,
is
as
I'm
of
not playing
right
with your
now,
this is what Yordan
Yeah, all day,
Alvarez
come on.
has that, like, to me is special. Is that he's got that Manny, like that Manny thing where it's almost like he's just a savant. Like, again, another guy who doesn't know how to tie his shoes. Possibly, I don't know, but he will just always hit. Like he just doesn't. It doesn't enter his brain
Yeah.
not to hit.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I would agree with that. What are the other 2 names on the list here, Mikey?
Ozzy Albies from Atlanta.
Albies.
Albies.
There you go. The Ronald Acuna duplicate
Yeah.
twin Brave franchise builder. Interesting kind of talking to Gabe about him before the show today, and I was like, Gabe, if you thought about Ozzy Albies as far as like infielders in the MLB, where would you put him? Top 10? Guy's a vacuum at second base and hits the ball at a decent clip. So like at 26, I mean, I'm putting him. I'd take him over Correa. I'd take him over Bogarts right now. Like he is making a really. And by the way, Acuna's been injured. Ozzy Albies doesn't deal with that. That guy plays a lot.
Yeah, he's probably top 5. To be
It's-
honest, he's
oh,
kind
yeah.
of a dark horse.
Is
Absolutely.
Correa a top 10 player to you guys?
He's probably top 15, top 20.
By
But
the
that's thing,
time-
is, like, so there's 30 teams,
is, huh?
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
is he a top player? Yeah.
To me, I mean, yeah, top player. Like, you know, to me, top 30,
Yeah.
yes. But for whatever reason, I just don't see what apparently everyone else sees with him.
He's probably
He's
he's
good-looking.
arguably one of the best fielding shortstops in the entire league.
For a long period of time now.
And
Okay.
then he also bats right around 300, can hit 25 home runs. Like
he's your anchor.
yeah. He's going to play Gold Glove level fielding, and then he's going to be your 4 or 5 and be just fine.
Yeah.
It seems like he should be your second best player on your team if you want to win a World
And
Series.
that's
With
what
a high budget, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Okay.
with the Twins' way, he can be the best player. I truly think the Twins can win 90 games this year. I
do.
really
Oh,
see
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And if
Yeah.
they do that, look at the 2 times the Twins have won the World Series. Neither times they've been picked preseason.
They've been deep. They've
been deep.
They've always been
and
deep
they've never
when they
had
win.
an amazing player. It was always like Kirby Puckett's our best player. He was never like top 10 in the league.
No.
Bullshit. Don't you dare fucking say
Gabe.
that shit. Are you fucking
I,
kidding me?
hey, listen, I love Kirby, but
He was
Kirby
top
was
20. top
336 and hit 32 home runs in 1987?
elevated by a good lineup.
You fucking pimps. You fucking dirty fucking pimps.
Look at this
Go
guy. Look at this guy.
fuck out.
Look at this guy.
I can't even believe that you fucking dare to say that in this house.
All right, and then last name on the list, Mikey.
Oh, sorry. I went away from the showdown because I was trying to prove Gabe wrong. Juan Urias.
Yeah, this is only the second pitcher that has made the list. This guy is injury concerns early in his career, right? Inconsistencies, but has been a big staple in that Dodgers rotation behind Kershaw for 3 or 4 years now. Has the ability to win 20 games. I believe he has a Cy Young award to his credit at this point. Gabe, how far up this list are you putting a pitcher like Juan Urias?
Hard for me to value pitchers on the same level these days, or not on the same level, because I do value them personally that much. It's just, it seems like we're in this era where pitchers spike and they have amazing year or two,
then they level out.
and then they go away. I don't know why that is, but I just keep seeing it all over the place, so I don't know what to think of it anymore.
Do you take him above Alcantara at this point in time?
Yeah,
Yeah. Barely, but yeah.
yeah.
I would agree. And those are our 4 guys for this week at 26. Anything in particular? Anybody you think we may have left out?
To be honest, I think I personally would really like to explore this Kirby Puckett talk.
How much time we got?
It's 12:48, so we have like 5 minutes and then wrap up the show.
Sure.
So, Gabe, just let's rationally talk about this. I know I really hurt your feelings, and I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
You
So,
didn't hurt my feelings. You hurt a state's feelings.
so
You hurt the entire state of Minnesota's feelings.
dude, like I'm a huge fan of Kirby. I didn't
Apparently
hurt
not.
We're on Kirby Puckett Drive here
I
in
had
the
a
studio.
dog named after him. Like 8th in batting average in 1987. So,
Okay.
home run wise, and let's not forget about the
28.
Gold Glove, right? He had 28 home runs.
No. You can't do that. Gabe disqualified all Gold Gloves and all previous Hall of Fame baseball talks.
He did.
I just said
So-
you guys overstated. That's all.
8th in batting average, tied for 32nd in home runs in the league that year.
Okay.
Mike's going to do to you what he just did to me
No,
on the
no, no,
Lamar
he's not
Jackson
doing
combo,
shit.
which is death by
He's
paper
not
cuts.
doing shit. Anyone who thinks that Kirby Puckett is not a top 20 talent.
No, we said top 10. Whoa. That
Don't
was
change the argument, Gabe.
that was the definition of moving the goalpost.
You said
What
he
did
was
you
top
say?
10, and we
You said top
no.
10.
He's not a
Oh,
top 10.
He's been top 10. Absolutely has.
He has been, but like as a career player, he is not a top 10
He got
player.
third in MVP voting 3 times.
Gabe.
Twice, sorry. Fuck.
So
Oh,
again,
second the other time.
so in 1987, the year that they won the World Series, he was 8th in batting average, tied for 32nd in home runs, and tied for 24th in RBIs. And he was the leader of our team that year.
Okay. But hold on. But why do you find those to be definitive stats? Because you're just saying
He's not-
each
he's-
one. How about adding all those together?
I can't. So
Which
I
makes him a top 20 player, in my opinion.
I
got-
can't defend you on this, by the way. I agree with you, but I can't defend you because you're doing literally to Gabe what you did to me earlier, and I refuse to back
Yeah, I know,
your
I
same
know.
argument structure.
Because you know I'm right a little bit.
no.
No. So okay. How about then?
So
let's
how
go
would you
to,
argue
hold
that?
on, hold on.
No,
Let's
wait,
go to
wait, wait.
1988.
How
then.
would you argue
He
that he's
batted
not a top 10 player
356.
then? How would you argue for your case in this
Hold on.
context?
Hold on here.
There was never a point in time
How about
where
we look
if
at
you reset the
1988?
league, there's
Okay,
never a
let's look
point
at
in time.
88.
1988. He batted 356. He had 234 hits. He hit 25 or 24 home runs and had 121 RBI.
All right, so batting average.
He did
in
one time-
1988.
he
was
did one
second
time
in
what
the league in
Ichiro
batting
made a career
average.
out of.
He was second in the league in batting average in 88. So he was a great contact hitter. Home runs wise,
Guys, he batted
Tied for
third in the fucking All-Star
23rd?
game. It's not like I'm not inventing this shit.
Gabe, the All-Star game has not that stuff hasn't mattered.
Oh, coming from a small market team back then, it did.
But
It absolutely did.
here's what I'll say. Can you think of a year? Can you
What's
think
the
of a year?
fucking argument you guys are even trying to make? He got to 3,000 hits like the third like he really is a super elite guy. I can't even believe that you're trying to make this
I
argument.
love Kirby, but there was never a point in time to where if you're resetting the league in any given year and you've got one of the top 10 picks where Puckett's coming off the board.
If you were to do a fantasy draft and restock the entire roster of MLB, is
At
what
any
it's saying.
time during Kirby's career,
Hey, guys,
Kirby is never one of the
guys,
top 10 guys to
In
come off the board.
1987, that was Puckett's basically his second year.
No, I know.
I know.
Okay, so like
So let's look at 91, the other year that they won it.
so you're not going to look at that as an elite talent? No, you guys said he was never a top 10 talent. And that's what set me off, because he's had these years where he batted 356, where he batted 340.
What do you think his best year was, Gabe?
So is Luis
looks like
Arise the
88.
best player in baseball?
Don't do that because
Well, that's not
vacuuming.
even a
Well,
fucking
all you
You're
close.
brought
putting
up
it
is
in a
his batting
vacuum. No, no,
average, though.
No,
Gabe,
I
Gabe,
said
what was-
home runs too.
What was Puckett's best statistical year all around?
I think 88. It looks like so far.
Look up-
Hold on.
look
I'm
looking
doing
up,
it
I'm
quickly
looking
here.
up specifically his best year.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up his WAR.
Why is this?
Or whatever
What
for
is?
each one.
What happened here?
And I don't know why it's not showing me the WAR, but
If you can show me his best year and then pull up the
Well,
rest
here.
of the All-Star team, I'll find you 10 names that I would have taken over Kirby
1988.
Puckett.
Okay, 1988 so far is what
Okay.
I'm seeing. So the line there is 234 hits, 42 doubles,
Right,
5 triples,
one more time. 232 hits.
234, 42 doubles, 5 triples, 24 home runs, 121 RBI, 6 stolen bases, batting average of 356, and his OPS was 920.
Yeah, that's not
Give me his WAR.
7.6 for that year.
All right, pull up the All-Stars from that year.
1988 All Stars.
Okay,
We're getting to the bottom of this,
Cinco.
Gabe.
what's that?
We're getting to the bottom of this. I don't
Yeah.
want Mike to be right, but if you're going to be so vehemently wrong, I will back him.
So here are the 1988 MLB All Star rosters. So for the American League, George Brett,
Well, just give me the big names, obviously.
Dave Winfield,
Okay.
Ricky Henderson,
I'm taking Ricky. There you go.
No,
There's the first one.
But you know what? No, not statistically, and I love Ricky.
Wade Boggs,
I'll take Ricky as one.
The guys that have better stats would be like
Frank
Canseco,
Viola.
possibly.
Canseco,
I'd
Mark McGuire, Don Mattingly,
I'd take
McGuire
McGuire.
batted 220 and hit 49
Barry
home
Larkin,
runs.
Rafael Palmeiro.
Okay, now you're fucking reaching here.
Go look at Rafi's stats.
I
He'd
know that
surprise
Rafi's
you.
stats are good because I hate Rafi.
Daryl
but-
Strawberry, Ryan Sandberg.
Hold on.
Oh, I'm taking Ryan
Hold on,
Sandberg.
hold on.
I'm taking Ryan
Gabe.
Hold on,
Sandberg.
are we not sticking in his league?
You said top 10 player in the league.
In the league.
In the league, in his fucking league.
Oh, then I agree with you 100%. If you're talking about American
well, that's
League
what I was
specifically,
fucking going nuts for.
yeah, when
No.
people say the league, though, you mean the league.
You mean all 30 teams, Gabe.
No, this
Yeah.
isn't the NBA where you
if
say
you
the
mean
league.
if you mean
This is
American League, I
baseball.
can agree with you and be done.
Sure, yeah. If
Okay,
you're
but
if
hold
you're gonna
on.
move the goalpost,
No.
To the American
Fuck
League.
you guys. That is not what I'm doing. But I tell you what, I don't mind extending it to the league as if anyone
I would say
refers
top
to
20
fucking Major
in the
League Baseball as the
MLB,
league.
top 10 in the American League. I'd say he's like 7th or 8th.
He is top 10 in baseball that year. He was. Look at the fucking. I'm looking
In
at the
that year,
rosters.
yes. But again, the whole argument
okay,
wasn't
so
1 year.
apology accepted.
The whole argument wasn't 1 year, though.
You said he'd
No, it
never been
wasn't.
a top 10 player.
I never said that. I never said
Bullshit.
the word never because I make sure to never say
Bullshit.
never or always.
Why can't you be man enough to fucking apologize and admit?
Because
when
I'm
you're
not wrong.
Okay, Gabe. I'm gonna get to
You
10.
guys can't even fucking handle the smell of your own shit.
I'm gonna get to 10 here. It's not. That's
Andre
not.
Dawson had a better year than him in '87. I know that.
But it's not. We weren't that. That wasn't the argument.
Shit,
The
it
argument
stands
was
up.
not one
It stands
specific
up in
year.
'87, dude. You guys don't know jack shit.
You know
All
what,
right,
Gabe? Hey, you
with
know what?
that, we're gonna get to the bottom of it off camera for you
It's fine.
folks.
7.
We're gonna come back.
He's the in '88. He's 7th.
He's
Ricky
7th in the
Henderson,
league.
Mark McGuire,
Ricky Henderson's not better than him that year.
Ricky Henderson, Mark McGuire, Paul Merrow, Ryan Sandberg, Roger Clemens, Greg Maddux, and Ozzie, and then probably Kirby.
Hold on, Ozzy. Ozzy who?
Albies.
Yeah, Ozzy Albies.
Because I know you're not talking Ozzie Smith, who batted 240 and hit 1 home run and whatever. Like, he's a great defender, but
yeah,
he's not.
the defender.
He
dude.
did backflips,
Yeah, but
dude.
Kirby
Like, I
could
mean, I get it. It was
defend
great.
as well.
Huh?
Kirby could defend as well.
He was the guy. He fucking popularized robbing, home runs.
Yeah. I don't know.
Seventh
Again,
at best.
I'm not saying he's bad by any means.
No,
I'm
he's just not a
saying
top 10 player at any point.
The Twins this year remind us of how the 87 and 91 Twins were built.
That's
Because
where
their
this started.
Because their superstar isn't necessarily a top 10 superstar in the league,
Yeah.
but he is a top 20 superstar, and that is good enough for us.
Dylan, what
With
do you
that-
think?
Top 10 in baseball.
What do you think?
I'm looking at the Masters odds.
Hey, with that, thank you guys for joining us today. We will see you next week. It's April. There will still be snow on the ground probably,
But we'll have baseball.
but we'll have baseball here
Hockey?
in Minnesota.
And we will settle this next week.
Yeah, we will try. Mike, you want to let them know where they can find us post
As
show?
always, guys, you can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, YouTube, and Patreon.
Twitch?
How did I mess that?
Wow.
What happened?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter,
Oh,
TikTok.
I forgot Facebook. That's
yeah,
what
you
happened.
did. I was gonna say.
Yep,
that too.
That's what it
TikTok,
was.
Spotify,
That set me all
Patreon,
off.
and Twitch. If you are wanting to watch us outside of your social media platforms, you can catch us on the Roku channel internationally. As long as it plugs into your TV, you can watch us.
MCN6.
And then MCN6 Saturdays, late night. Make sure you tune in with us next week. We will be covering the Masters. Dylan, early predictions?
John Rahm, baby.
Ooh, you think he's going to do it, huh?
John Rahm or Scotty Scheffler?
Has he got a jacket yet?
No. So you want my top three? Go John Rahm. Scheffler is 8-1 odds, so
Okay.
he's favorite. Or McIlroy. He doesn't have his jacket yet.
There we
He's
go.
number
And
2.
Tiger will be back, so we will get to talk about stuff.
Is
Tiger's
Tiger
back.
participating?
Tiger's back.
I'm going to take Tiger just because.
50.
There we
55 to
go.
1.
There
go.
we go. And then we will recap UFC 287, and we will be ever closer to the NFL draft as the postseason kicks on. Until next time, stay safe, take care, have fun.
Peace.